Goddamn Pisces. This one blew me away. And what's funny is that when you look at both of these cards together, it makes me wonder if some of you are like doubting something that you've witnessed in a mystical way, right? It's interesting. So witness, to know personal evidence and to speak out, and then you have mysticism. Go figure, Pisces. So now let's talk about mysticism. This one is talking about you being the observer, very much like the high priestess, right? We always talk about how she's passive. It doesn't require action for your intuition to kick in. It just requires you to watch what's going on, right? But this is saying that you may be ignoring the signs that are around you right now. But it is about intuitive knowing, but it's also fearing what you don't understand. And witness is saying that you need to see now that the veils of illusion and deceit have been lifted. It says that, you know, it can be painful, but it's a great blessing to know the truth. And it's you now accepting that truth. And you may have been ignoring signs about a situation. And then for some of you, it's just very simply, you may have witnessed something really strange. All right, Pisces, here we go. Here's your overall. The Ace of Wands. Hey. So, and what's interesting to me is the automatic feeling that I'm getting from this is that, yeah, there is going to be an opportunity where passion is being reignited, right? This may be about starting a new relationship, starting something creative here. There will be an opportunity presenting itself to you, but I almost feel like a choice is going to have to be made on what to do with this. You know, but still we're looking at a new beginning being presented to you, which is great. You know, but it does require action, right? Now, in the past, the Hierophant. Okay, so, you know, and I've been seeing him a lot lately too. I kind of get the feeling with him being in the past that you've experienced a lot of difficult changes. And I always say that because the Hierophant rules the fives. The fives are always the shitty shit that we go through, all the difficult changes, right? But they're always only temporary. This is gaining a higher understanding of those changes. But I kind of get the feeling that you were set in a way of believing, and that has, you know, been keeping you in this pattern of doing things like the same way. But I feel like that's changing here, you know, because we're looking at this Ace of Wands coming up, you know, but this could also be talking about a commitment that was made in the past, right? The orthodox beliefs, right? This is the way to believe, right? You know, this is the way to do things. I always feel constricted with the Hierophant. You know, I love the spiritual grounding and spiritual awareness, but because he represents the Pope, I always see this like oppressing dogma, if that makes sense. You know, but we'll see here. Oh shit, yeah. In the present, the Ten of Swords. So something is coming to an end in a very painful way for some of you, and it's not pleasant. But I believe that, you know, what's making it harder is the fact that you have stayed so rigid in your way of believing things. I always say it's better to have ideas than beliefs. Beliefs can be really good, but they can also be really bad. It's always better to have ideas and to be open-minded to different information. If you're stuck in one set of beliefs that are detrimental to you, then, you know, this is why we see things like this show up. But the beauty in all of this, though, is that you still have a new beginning that's happening. But something is definitely ending in a very difficult way because your beliefs may not have been the best for you. That's how I want to say this. Now, this, though, could be that you felt very confined in something. Some of you may have made, like, you know, a very strong commitment to something that, you know, you may not have been too happy with, and it's definitely coming to an end. And the thing is what I feel around this, for those of you who are dealing with that, this Ten of Swords has this feeling of, I don't understand. I was doing everything the right way. Why is it going this way? I don't understand. But this is clearly something that has to happen in order for you to see that Ace of Wands, right? future conditions, the King of Cups. So it's going to change you emotionally. And I don't think it's a negative thing. I just think that you're going to be more in control of the way that you feel with the King of Cups. And I do believe that this is you, whether you're male or female. Now, for some of you, you know, this could be somebody who is very loving and supporting and understanding and compassionate when it comes to what you are going through with this Ten of Swords. And they may be the ones offering this Ace of Wands, right? But your emotions are changing, where we're talking about, you know, being more in control, not being so open and vulnerable anymore is what I feel like for some of you. You know, and, you know, again, with the Kings, I always see that as what is being, you know, external. So this may be, you know, the way that you're presenting yourself because of what you've been through. And I don't know, it's funny because it feels a little bit harsh, but, you know, there's still very much that, you know, emotional side of you. But this could also show that emotionally you've gained some wisdom through this experience, though, too. But like I said, for some of you, you could be dealing with a person who's responsible for offering this new opportunity. Male, female, water. You know how that goes. Oh, yeah. Very nice. Very nice. Your best path to follow, the Four of Wands. So if you do have this opportunity being presented to you, know that if you take action toward this, you can build a better foundation for yourself. And in this, I always love about the Four of Wands, because we're talking about getting to a place of feeling like you have accomplished something, where you get to celebrate it and enjoy it. It's temporary, yes, but it is a good, strong foundation, right? And for some of you, yeah, this could have to do with, you know, having a painful ending with a relationship. Somebody may be coming through and supporting you, and here's this new opportunity. For some of you, it may be a commitment through work, right? And things ending in a really bad way, unexpectedly, is what I feel like. But it's like it has to happen. It has to be this way. But I do like this, and I think that this is where you need to place your focus, right? When you start taking action toward a new opportunity, things are not going to immediately, boom, here the fuck it is, right? It takes a little bit. And some of you may be in the process of rebuilding your life. The other part of this, though, too, is, you know, make sure you're taking that time to kind of celebrate the accomplishments that you are making. Ow, man. Okay. The Knight of Swords in your environment. I feel like something very harsh was said, and that was like an abrupt end to a conversation. Just, it was abruptly over, like boom, done. And you're the one that's experiencing the Ten of Swords here. Now, for some of you, yeah, the reason why you may be dealing with a painful ending is because you acted too quickly on something, or maybe, you know, there was some brutal communication. You know, because I've always said with the Knight of Swords, he is the type of person that, here's what I want to say to you. I don't give a fuck what you have to say in return. End of story. End of conversation. That is it. And I have to wonder, though, if because of the King of Cups, absolutely, this could be a new person that you're dealing with in future conditions, but this could also be the same person, and they may have said some things that were not so nice, maybe a little bit too harsh, acted a little bit too quickly, you know, because I always look at the Knight of Swords and think he doesn't have all the information. He thinks he does, you know, but I don't ever question the truth with the Knight of Swords. So whatever is being said, it's coming from a place of personal truth, you know. But like I said, for some of you, it could be, you know, the actions that you have taken. But I don't know. I get the feeling that, you know, I thought I was doing the right thing. I'm not understanding where this is coming from. But this could very well be this person going, you know, I'm in better control of the way that I feel. I would like to have this new beginning, you know, and then you're leading to the Four of Wands here. It's possible. Okay, your hopes and your fears, the Three of Wands. You know, because we're looking at him in future conditions, I think that a lot of you, because I'm looking at it this way, I think that a lot of you are fearing that, you know, there isn't going to be any kind of progress forward, that you're going to be forever waiting for somebody to come around and say something or even apologize. You know, but then the hope there, though, with the Three of Wands is that, you know, by expanding yourself, that better opportunities are going to come through. And that very well may be the case here. You know, because I do get a kind of like hopeful sense with this, that, you know, if there is expansion away from this situation, that is what's going to lead to this Ace of Wands. You know, but you regardless of, you know, whether this is you or somebody else, I definitely do believe that there is going to be a different side of you kind of like coming out to the world, where you've learned a lot emotionally based on your experience, right? And I think that you're not going to be as, you know, naive or open to certain people in certain situations. But I think that you're expanding yourself to different areas that, you know, are going to be more supportive, more beneficial. And then coming out here, the Three of Pentacles, very nice. So, you know, and like I said before, with this possibly being the same person, this may be them, you know, wanting to work with you now, right? With the Three of Pentacles, this could definitely be, in the Three of Wands, a work situation. You may be expanding, you know, the group of people that you have around you in terms of business, where things may have been like really bad with a prior commitment. And they may be definitely bringing this new opportunity that is going to allow you to open up, you know, your creative side and kind of show off what you can do. You may be starting a new job, and it may be a little bit more closer to your heart. Now, if this is about relationship, this is definitely, you know, trying to make a situation work, right? So I think that, you know, anything that has been restrictive, right? Like, you're going to be working on getting away from that. You're not going to allow yourself to be tied down in bad partnerships, bad relationships, anything like that. And there's going to be a lot of consideration and reevaluation when it comes to who, you know, you put your heart into, or what you put your heart into, who you connect with, right? And who you choose to work with. And I don't think that you're leading to a negative situation. I just think that, you know, bad habits and things like that could prevent you from, you know, fully realizing, though, this opportunity. You know, I don't think that anything oppressive is going to be coming up, but I think that you may be reevaluating, you know, some bad choices that may have been made in the past. But, you know, the devil is always showing what we're familiar with, right? We find safety with these things because it's all we know, but it's not healthy. It's not good for you, right? But with the Two of Cups here and looking at the Hierophant, right, again, going back to, you know, this commitment here, and possibly for some of you, this could be the ending of a marriage, straight up, or just the ending of a relationship. But whatever partnership you've had in the past, you are leading to a better one, but this one that you may have been a little bit too committed to is definitely coming to an end here with the Ten of Swords. And like I said, there's like something harsh being done or said with the Knight of Swords. Now, there is a lot of like reevaluation here when it comes to, you know, not understanding why it led up to this point. You know, it's kind of looking at how much you've invested into a relationship or into a business partnership and going, you know, this is really all I'm seeing here. Maybe it's time to take my investment somewhere else, you know. And then you have not just you, but I think somebody else coming through here for sure, right? Because I'm still looking at you creating better partnerships. And again, going back to the devil, I think that, and this kind of goes back to, you know, this feeling of you being better in control of the way that you feel, and having learned a lot through this past experience. I think that you're going to see the devil immediately and go, no, I cannot chain myself to anything that is going to be, you know, bad for me. You're not going to make another commitment. I think that you're willing to work with certain people, or one person in particular, in order to kind of build a better foundation with a relationship. But there are things that you are no longer willing to commit to or give your heart to because of what you've experienced. You're going to be quick to see the negative aspects of partnerships. And I don't think that that's a bad thing, but, you know, it teeters on this feeling of like judgment almost, you know. You don't want to judge every new experience based on past experiences, you know. That's like that saying of don't let, you know, one bad apple ruin everything, right? Or whatever that saying is. You know what I'm talking about. But I see you putting your effort into breaking a negative situation, breaking bad habits, things like that, you know, and really seeing, you know, what kind of effort and investment caused you to kind of be in this place to begin with. But I still see things getting better for you, whether we're talking about business partnerships or relationships. With the Ace of Wands here, I don't think you're leading to, you know, putting time and effort into something negative. I just think that you're going to become more aware, like I said, of the devil. So, yes, there needs to be a release of negative energy, bad situations, things that have come to, you know, bad endings. It's important for you to pay attention to your intuition, no longer ignoring the signs of your experience and detaching from all the negativity, releasing, detaching, and being more aware, right? And it feels a little bit harsh, but at the same time, I'm looking at that King of Cups going, you know, it makes sense, you know. It makes sense that Pisces is moving into this place where they're no longer the Queen of Cups, so to speak, where they're so open and emotionally invested. And that feels a little bit like, right? And because that shows that experience has kind of tainted you, you know. But again, it's not going to be for all of you, right? Just be aware of the people that you're putting your time and effort into. That's what I want to say. And miracles, expect the wonders to emerge. And then you have your Ace of Wands, perfect. And again, right, like taking action, making the choice to take action on that. But yeah, there's going to be some better things coming your way for sure with miracles showing up. But when they do show up, make sure that you're taking action toward that. You know, and obviously here with passion.